and we smoke and get stoned and end up watching a movie instead. And that's what happens when sometimes we don't have a show.
Sure,
and that's real.
Sure.
That's the struggle.
Exactly. I am that I am. Some call me Haru.
Some call me Jadon.
And this is episode 18. Just moving along. You can like us, subscribe, comment.
All the usual stuff. They've
share.
heard it.
Yeah,
They've heard
I'm
it.
sure you heard
and
it.
right now it's scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
Exactly.
Too. Do you guys like that? Not annoying enough for you?
Yes, come on.
No, it's just, I'm upping the game and, making the graphics look pretty cool. And
yeah, growing.
Some stuff.
Yeah, just growing.
Plus it kind of says, latest articles a little bit, so you can check those out if you haven't, been there a little bit. I'm going to add some stuff more and more as I go along, as I kind of learn and tweak what we can put down there.
For sure.
But it's pretty cool looking, I think.
Go to the newsletter. We got a new newsletter out there, a monthly newsletter, as well as you can join our email list as well, our mailing list. And you have opportunities to the website, considergroup.com. So today we're going to be talking about, or tonight per se, we're going to be talking about the prohibition. And what I mean by the prohibition, literally not. We're going back a little bit, stepping back a little bit, going back to the alcohol prohibition and seeing how the structure of what it was doing then and how it's affecting us today, now, and as we speak. Not just with the alcohol, we're talking many elements of prohibition. So I wanted to kind of give a definition of prohibition. Basically what it is it's a... Let me read it, right? Let me get my paper right. So prohibition, an action of forbidding something, especially by law. That was a good point.
Yeah.
Something that we really don't pay attention to until it's too late, till the law is actually taken over, or the so-called government
makes
has
it
taken
illegal.
over. Yes.
Not just a ban per se, but it makes it illegal.
And it's funny too, because even how they associate this definition, the second part of the definition, to prevention by law of the manufacturers and the sale of alcohol, especially in the United States between 1920 and 1933. So the funny thing was, like, it's not just alcohol. We're talking women's rights, we're talking civil rights, we're talking slavery, we're talking other elements within the particular structure of prohibition. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of, when we step back a little bit and look at the makeup, even though I wasn't there, and I'm sure you wasn't there at the time, per se.
I can run really fast.
So what the goal is really connecting back the social aspect.
Yeah,
the
that's
psychological.
That's interesting, because it's not as simple as, okay, well, alcohol is illegal.
Yes.
I mean, obviously that is, but think about all the industries that disrupts. Even something as simple as someone had a tough day at work and they want to come home and have a glass of wine or beer or whatever it is. Why so that you can't do that following the law, and you have to turn to something else.
Yes.
What is that something else?
And it's interesting because when you're looking at these timelines, that's why I was like looking at the timelines of we're talking the 30s, right? But let's take it back. Let's take it back when the country was actually being ratified, as we know of the Constitution and the Articles of Confederation, yada yada yada, Declaration of Independence, yada yada yada. This ain't no history class, but then we're actually kind of connecting the dots a little bit for you. So when we go back to 1776, and then 1778, and all these times and these periods of times, when you look at the 70. It's interesting when you look at 70 years prior to these particular dates, from 1776. So I was doing some calculating. So it came up to 1846, right? Then it came to 1916, 1986, and 2056, right? When we're taking that 70 model, that 70 model. So what I'm saying is this. Usually in 70 years, and this is in your Bibles, this is in your Qurans, this is in your Gitas, this is in all your so-called hybrid books, or holy books if you want to go there. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's always an evolution. Every 70 years, an evolution cycle. So everything is coming back. How can we reinvent something or develop something that we can entrap the people or take what we want to take, you know, and
change something.
Yes, and like we was discussing before about, like I was trying to pinpoint, like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. Who are these people connected to bloodline-wise when we're talking about who's been controlling this country for all these years? You see what I'm saying? Because when you look at the bloodline, all the bloodlines make the same. They're the same people.
You know, it's like the president.
Exactly.
It's, you know, been Bush, Clinton, you know, Obama, and it'll be, you know, or could be a Clinton again.
Yes.
It could be a Bush again.
Yeah, yes.
You know, even if they're not voted in, they're there.
And it's funny too because nothing has, even with the gay movement, you know, the gay rights movement, even with the particular, you know, change, nothing has really changed. It just, we accept it. We accept the whatever the status quo of what the government has in
because we were told it's now okay
yes.
in the eyes of the government that's supposed to work for us. Now we accept it. Well,
yes.
a lot of people still don't.
Yes.
You know, I don't want to say a lot, but there's still people out there obviously going to be
but like
whatever.
But we see it with the masses. When it's incorporated through the masses, obviously something's going on. When you're getting all this propaganda on your television set, when you're getting propaganda on your cell phones or wherever you get your media from, you definitely get some things where these politicians, these particular so-called servants that so-called are taking control of every aspect of what we do as a so-called citizen of this country. And I don't even like even using that term. I mean, but it's it's some interesting things what we haven't, I think, especially within this cannabis industry, we haven't even taken the time to really pay attention to what the prohibition of the alcohol movement did to the people. Because it's a psychology thing, it's a culture, conditioning, you know, every aspect when you look at it, and it's the same ordeal they're giving us with the cannabis industry. Do you know what I'm saying?
And the alcohol was, what, 13 years?
Yes.
Not very long.
Not that long, not that long. But you see how fast, the interesting thing, and this sister brought up a good point. She was like, well, they got tracking ability for cannabis, so it's a conflict of interest with this board and the liquor and marijuana board. That's conflict of interest to me.
Yeah, because both of them want to kill each other.
Yeah, exactly. How you going to track? You can track the marijuana. You can track the cannabis from its infancy to the ending result, right? But with alcohol, you can't do that. You may get it out your... You know, they can, but they're not doing that. That's
for damn sure the alcohol industry was shitting their pants.
Come on.
You know, as cannabis gets more and more accepted again.
Yes. Yeah, and it's interesting because you can find this knowledge is out there. The problem is this, too, questioning this knowledge. Because, see, we don't know. We wasn't there at the time. So we don't know what really was going on because I'm looking at Ken Burns' documentary, The Prohibition. That's what I've been watching. And it's interesting how when they're showing these elements or making these big events, how it influenced the mind, right? Like the 9/11, okay? Like the 9/11, they showing us hitting that plane, hitting that building over and over again. So psychologically, we're built by fear. You see what I'm saying? We're starting to, the fear module is embedded, or molecule is embedded in the DNA.
We were talking the numbers earlier. It really is all a numbers game. Everything is timing. It's very, life is math, really.
Yes.
There's a time period to do everything that they do.
Yeah, for
sure.
You
know, if you ever notice events that happen, take note of the date. Yeah. Take note of the time it happened.
Mayday,
there's a lot going on,
mm-hmm.
and they know.
No, they
time
know
frame
exactly.
for everything. But it's like, you bring up 9/11 and then the recession that's still going on, by the way. But the recession, and some people think stopped, which didn't. But numbers-wise,
it's an illusion.
It's not really a recession. Is more of a depression. True numbers.
Yes.
So that's beside the point. But remember when gas got so expensive?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Really expensive. I mean, for us anyways. You know, it was what? It was hitting five something around here in the Seattle area. And, I mean, just people weren't driving as much. People were freaking out. You know, it's more stressful. And then it goes down a little bit, or, you know, goes down, to 4. And that seems such a great deal at 4, even though it started at friggin' 89 cents. And now we're happy with 4. But the point being is people forgot all about it. Started buying cars again, and started driving again. And I'm thinking to myself, this is not that long.
Yeah.
And you've already forgotten?
And you know what I think the disconnect is? The disconnect is the story. Nobody's telling the story no more. I think that's a big part of it. Nobody sees the struggle of what the issues may be. And that's where I think the link is cut off, because we got these social engines, like our social sites. They're basically telling you the result or the event. They're not talking about the process, how they got there. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's what's missing within this fast lane, propaganda.
I mean, I always think about it like this. These people that were super successful at some point, made a lot of money or whatever. We don't know really what they went through.
Yes.
They're the ones that end up telling us and like selling some product saying this is the way to do it. Those people I think I trust the least, because if you figured out, which there is no way to figure it out because it's different for everybody, you figured out some way to go from A to B to make a lot of money quickly for your business, why in the blue hell would you package that as a video thing, sell it to someone for $49.95 and be teaching people this shit? That's a waste of your time. Just, if I was that person, I'd be redoing that same scheme over and over and over and over again to make millions and billions of dollars, not selling a tape for $50 to people. I mean, it's a scam.
And it's been a scam. MLMs. I mean, they all day long. Because I mean, the work really is knocked out of. Well, the process is knocked out of it. And the one thing too, we've been relying on or being responsible on other people, right? You know what I'm saying? Or making sure everybody else is accountable, but you're not accountable. You know what I'm saying? So it's
the details.
Yeah.
This is a headline type of world now.
Yeah.
Why? I talk about, I don't get Twitter. It is popular. It's not near as Facebook or anything, but why is it popular? Oh, the 140 characters headlines. Then you got articles that do clickbait, aka doing headlines that are bending the truth in the headline to get you to click to go to their site.
For sure.
Or y'all people on Facebook or Twitter having flame wars over the headline of an article, and half the people didn't even read the damn thing. So they don't even know the information, but they're fighting about it. Which that's another problem entirely. But it's the same thing with presidential candidates. I don't think it makes a difference who the hell's in the White House, but it's the same thing. No one knows anything about these people.
Agree.
I mean, it's a popularity contest.
That's all it is.
It always has been.
Look good and this and that. Hollywood.
I know. Not some people are really taking note of the issues. And I'm not talking about you, but the majority doesn't know a damn thing, because we've proven that by these talk shows and late night shows. I'll go out in public and like talk to people, and they'll like reverse it and say like Trump's issues on Sanders and Sanders' issues on Trump. Try to trip these people up because they're so blind to I'm picking Trump for whatever God knows reason. No one knows the details. No one knows how the struggle to get from A to B. I mean, this show, we don't just sit here, we suddenly have a show, right? It's, oh God, we gotta make time for the show.
For sure.
Okay, I got kids, I got stuff to do, I'm tired from work. We gotta make the time. Sometimes we come, we have full intent to do it, and we smoke and get stoned and end up watching a movie instead. And that's what happens when sometimes we don't have a show. And that's real. That's the struggle.
Exactly.
We gotta put up the stand. We gotta get my phone ready. Oh, I forgot to charge my phone. This is the process.
Yes.
I mean, it's relatively simple compared to a multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar studio on Channel 5. But I mean, the point being is
making it
there's work involved here.
Big time. Serious
details everywhere.
Serious work, serious work. You know, connecting with you.
Anyways.
You know, developing value.
You people are a lot of work.
Developing value. Developing value. What can we offer here? I want to spit off some dates, though, since we was talking about dates or numbers. But I wanted to just kind of, and do your own homework. That's one of the things. We don't know nothing here. We just spitting some of the viewpoints we've been experiencing, what we've seen, what's going through life, you know, and we got a little herbs to, you know, kind of ease the mind and let us go a little deeper. So the Prohibition of Alcohol was based on effective in 1920 to 1933 when it actually was outlawed, correctly? So the problem is there, but it was
13.
prior before,
There's
it was
13
number.
13.
And it's interesting because when you look, it was going on before that. It was going on in the the late 1870s, and then it was kind of more effective. But then you're talking about so many other elements in between the 1930s. I mean, the Depression, you're talking Social Security Act, you know, you're talking like, you know what I'm saying? The Roaring 20s, you remember that? The Roaring 20s, what they taught you in
It's
school.
almost like this was all pre-planned.
Oh, yes, and it's starting to sound
It's
like...
too convenient.
Yeah,
all these
Franklin
things.
Roosevelt, the pinnacle of American culture, you know. Just so many things like that. He enacted the Harrison Act of 1933. Then you're talking, then we go before that, the Prohibition, you know, Emancipation, you know, the 13th Amendment, 1807, you know, women's rights, 1869 to 1873. California was like, hell no, we're gonna outlaw marijuana. California out of them all. Think about that. And they so-called got the best bud. That's what they claim.
Of course,
We don't-
we're Californians,
yeah, exactly,
they're arrogant.
exactly,
Of course
exactly,
they have. I'm
exactly.
sure there's some good stuff.
So
Pretty
Utah happened to fall suit to that. 1914, they started prohibition on the marijuana. Then other states fell in that place, 1915 to 1937. And now we're dealing with the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937. So these are some of the numbers you can go look at in your own. I will provide links on the show notes for that. But my point is, when you're looking at these particular numbers, during the 1900s, you had a lot of influential aspects. You got the IRS, you got the FBI, you got all these different organizations, CIA, and all these different forms of organizations that was developing in this period of time, these early 1900s. I mean, and when we're looking at, we got to understand that certain things are certain mind states. You had the TV rocking in the households. You see what I'm saying? The radio was invented. All these things was invading the privacy of the people. So these are how the subliminal messages.
Not only that, but just distractions.
Yes.
I was watching Arrow, right? And there's this bad group of a military group guys that do bad things, and so the good guys are trying to find them or get them before they do something bad, and so these bad guys supposedly are trying to get and sell these rail guns or whatever.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
However, that's the distraction.
Yeah.
That's not what they were really after.
Okay.
That was a distraction, so the good guys would go after that. So they're over there, and what they really want to do is over here.
Yeah, sure.
Classic.
Art of War.
Classic
that's
distraction.
Art of War. Yeah,
and
for
that
sure.
is today in a nutshell all the time.
Yeah, we see that.
I mean,
We see that even with the sports. I mean, we got the Super Bowl coming up next Sunday, right? I think it's next Sunday. When they had the Pro Bowl, I've seen a few people, family members.
But I mean, everything's a distraction,
But yeah,
even if you like it. I
yeah.
mean, Darth Vader here is a distraction,
Yeah,
but
for
we
sure.
can find entertainment in the movies.
Yeah.
And you can find entertainment in football, but just be aware.
Of what's going on.
It's really different in a way when you know it's a distraction.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I'm not going to sit on my high horse and say, so you don't have any fun? And no, I'm distracted all the time, man.
24/7, 7 days
I'm
a week,
watching
yeah.
shows, I'm on my phone, I'm doing, if I didn't have any of that stuff, God, the things I could get done.
Yeah.
So we're not sitting here like we're better than anybody, that's for damn sure, because we're in the game too, right? We're in this matrix.
Yes.
We're just trying to, for ourselves and hopefully everyone else, be kind of aware of the matrix,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And maybe try to bend it a little bit, bend that spoon,
Yes.
a
that's
little
it.
bit.
Yeah, you're right. You're
And
right. Good
just
metaphor.
a little bit out of it. You know, the more that we're not conformed to this matrix,
and that's the benefit
we're taking our power back.
That's definitely
we're the
benefit.
ultimate beings here, not the governments work for us. That's
supposedly, that's what the title say in the Constitution.
I mean, no one. They're not my bosses.
Yes.
I was born in the United States of America Corporate. I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
USA Corp. So because I'm born here, I get that social security number before I even can open my eyeballs.
Yeah.
You know, so already against my will, I have a contract on my head.
Yes.
And we won't go into it now, but do some research about what the social security number really is.
Yeah.
It's disturbing.
Yes.
I mean, it's all stock market bullshit.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I mean, literally, they are playing with you as a number to make more money. That's what the goddamn
the numbers.
Social security number is. So you're already in the game, but it's just like because we're talking America because we're here, but so we're born here, and we already have a bunch of rights taken away immediately before we can even shit our pants.
Yes, come on.
I mean, I didn't agree to this. Did I agree that I wanted, the United States government to rule my life? No, I did not. No. This isn't about, do I agree with them or not? It's that I didn't agree to them to do this job.
I didn't consent, And that's what it is on consent, because we just assume. And that's it, just like a police officer, if he stop you, he assume you got driver's license and insurance, right?
Well, and then we assume that they have authority over us.
Exactly.
The police,
consent,
it's you have to consent to these things.
Yeah.
If you do, fine, but be aware of what you're consenting to and why.
Like they said, if you don't have rights, if you don't know your rights, you don't have rights. And we talked a little bit about this.
That's
and we're gonna get
advantage
more,
of like crazy.
We're gonna definitely talk more about that because I want to get in some politics, and we're getting down to the wire here. But the basic idea is, I challenge you to go out. I challenge the whole audience, everybody that watches this or interact with Consider magazine or whatever Consider group. I want to challenge you to really start paying attention to some of this history. And it's funny, I say history, his story, because it's basically his story. We're just a part of his story.
That's interesting.
You see what I'm saying?
Said that way.
Yeah, but that's what's going on.
His story,
and
AKA,
we gotta play,
AKA someone else's story. We don't know.
And the
winners,
winners write the story.
Interesting.
And that's
the people that survived.
Yeah, exactly. The
dead people aren't writing stories.
Exactly.
They could think it's a completely different story.
Come on.
Yeah, that's
interesting. That's the cool thing about what Consider is doing, what we're challenging folks, even with our writers. What we want to do, we want to start grabbing we want to make people be like, what the hell what they doing over there? What's really going on? Because it have to be shock value. That's the coolest thing.
Sadly, yes.
So I gotta put a butt-ass naked female on the cover of my album,
You're gonna put her right here?
Or my magazine, I would get, what is that going on? But I get so many people buying the magazine and all this other elements.
Sex sells.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's how you do it too. I think it's more of a class. You see what I'm saying? It's how you approach it. We're sitting here, I want to help other writers. I want to take them to the next level because I'm a writer. I want to challenge myself, and that's what we're doing here at Consider. We're challenging you, and we want to know what's actually what you feeling, what you seeing, because I'm starting to see some things questioning this legalization issue with the cannabis industry. Because what is going on, we got these corporations coming up in here, and don't get it twisted, Microsoft is already in the game. You see what I'm saying? They already in the game. Philip Morris already in the game. But it seemed like to me, we have other entrepreneurs within this particular industry. And I'm not saying we're limited to cannabis. No, we're talking health. We're talking fitness. We're talking sports. We're talking athleticism. We're talking meditation, whatever you want to go with it. Yoga, whatever. My point is that we need to start open up. Start seeing the signs, because they're showing us every time, but they keep you distracted with the ISIS and all this other bullshit and crap. I don't know what it is. I mean, yeah, ISIS has been around for years, for years, literally.
That's just the renamed Al-Qaeda.
Exactly. you know, to keep playing us.
Supplied by
the
United
carrot.
States weapons.
Yeah, the carrot. The carrot.
Ex-CIA.
Yes, yes. The carrot.
And they just
aspect.
shut us down.
Yeah.
I've been shot. Sorry,
You know.
I'm all right.
So it's just like I said, we're down to the seconds actually.
Naked female right here. I mean, I'm not gonna say no to that.
We're down to the seconds. So
Centergroup.com.
you know, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you know, and LinkedIn. Oh, shout out to all the LinkedIn followers or connections, whatever you want to call it. And thank you for the interviews. All love.